Thank you everyone for joining us. This is our Master of Science in Data Analytics Engineering virtual open house. We have Mr. Jim Baldwin here. He'll be hosting this with me. We'll be going over the program. I did want to go over a few housekeeping items. So I will go over the agenda with you guys. We'll have a few things that I wanted to touch base with you with, and then I'll go ahead and pass it over to James Baldo, and he'll go ahead and speak on the program. So what we're gonna do is I will introduce you to Jim Baldo. There'll be some things we'll talk about with driving forces. We'll discuss why choose George Mason with the data analytics engineering program. We'll go over the curriculum, the online classroom format. I'll discuss the admissions requirements, and then there's going to be a Q&A that we'll go over at the end. You'll go ahead and utilize your Q&A option versus the chat option, and then we'll go over the questions. So just to give you an idea how it'll work, in order for you guys to participate, you have the chat instructions. You can raise your hand if you have a question, if possible. If you can wait till the end, that way we can get through all of the program information, and then we'll answer all the questions. You can click on the Q&A in your webinar controls to get access to see the Q&A window, and then I'll go ahead and ask the questions, and Mr. James Baldo will go ahead and answer those. So I'll go ahead and introduce you to the Associate Professor and Director of our Master of Science in Data Analytics and Engineering program, Mr. James Baldo.
Thank you. Thank you, Denise. So welcome, and I thank all of you for showing interest in our data analytics engineering program here at George Mason University. The program, just to give you an idea, it's an online program. The degree is the good thing about the online program, the data analytics engineering program, is that the degree that you get here is not in like an online school or anything like that. It is the same degree that you would be issued if you were taking the course on campus. So that is a very, very nice dimension to this program here. So my assistant director, Professor Schmidt, was unable to make it tonight. He is teaching class. So on Tuesday nights in the fall, he has a class that he teaches on campus. So just a little bit about myself. I'm still practicing a data analytics engineer. I have 45 years of experience in industry and academia. I took over the program as director in the fall of 2018. And I also, at that point in time, I was given the responsibility of bringing the program, adding an online version of the program. And we worked very close with our partner here. And I am very proud of the program. We have a lot to offer in this online program. The courses are set up to be asynchronous. So I have a lot of experience in industry. I've worked for companies like Oracle and Northrop Grumman. I spent 15 years at Oracle, and I spent about 5 years at Northrop Grumman, and I've spent about 15 years at FFRDC's federally funded research and development corporations here in the Washington, D.C. area. I've just returned from a 2-year sabbatical over at the Department of Homeland Security. I worked in their science and technology group, and I was in their data analytics engineering tech center. And there I practiced for 2 years, for 24 months. I worked with the director of that center, and I was practicing every day. So that is one of the nice things. Professor Schmidt also comes from industry. And so I think we bring the depth and knowledge of how data analytics engineers practice in industry and in government. So I think that's really important. A nice thing that your faculty is also engaged in practicing. So next slide, please, Denise. Okay, so the program is a very interesting program. The dean of, so we are hosted in the college in George Mason University in the College of Engineering and Computing. And the College of Engineering and Computing spans 2 schools. There's the College of Engineering, and then the School of Engineering, and then there is the School of Computing. And this program is multidisciplinary, so it cuts across both schools. It also, and Dr. Kenneth Ball, who is the dean of the College of Engineering and Computing, um, did not want this program to be part of any department. So we have lots of departments across the two schools, and he wanted it to be independent of any sort of specific engineering domain or computing domain across those two schools. And also he wanted the program to stretch out across other colleges and schools in the university. So in our offerings, we do offer courses that are outside of the College of Engineering and Computing, some from the business school, and we're expanding those on a regular basis as we were able to get those courses asynchronously online. So that is one of the very, very nice things about this program is that the type of data analytics engineers that we produce, while they're taking courses, they can specialize in some particular area that they have interest in, but they also will get this very, very broad education here. So that was a little bit of the background and also gives you a little bit of idea of why it was created, but a little bit more on why it was created was that data analytics, and if you can look at lots of different programs that are offered, and they're good, there's no question about it. A lot of data analytics today, when you find at the universities, there might be a specialization, like for example, in business or finance, or in the sciences, like in chemistry or mathematics, statistics, um, social sciences do a lot of analytics, as well as psychology departments and whatnot. And we get students, undergraduate degrees from every single one of those domains or disciplines that I just mentioned. So analytics is a fabric that goes across just about every discipline you can think of. But we wanted to make a program that was unique in the sense that it was general. And when the program celebrated its 10th year, so it's its 10-year anniversary this fall. And the idea was to make this unique program. And as of today, I mean, I don't know of any program in the US that has this general curriculum like we have. So this allows our graduates, our alums, to go off and to have some quite a breadth of areas that they can go off and practice. So they could easily fit into a team that's doing finance. They can easily fit into a team that is doing product marketing. There's just no domain that or discipline that our folks can't go in and work on as a product, and they are in high demand because of their skill sets. So I'll talk a little bit more about the industry trends in the next couple of slides. But the reason this program is so important is that in the past, and I'll say this, it started almost 20 years ago, but especially in the last 10 years, there has been this notion of infoeconomics. And a lot of people, a lot of C-level, CEOs, CIOs, CTOs, and now the chief data analytics or chief data analytics officers, all of these decision makers, key decision makers, are struggling with how they can manage the vast amounts of data that they have in their organizations, as well as how can they generate value from it. And I'm not saying this just value is that they're going to generate wealth. In many cases, their survival depends upon it. And it's not only in terms of dollars, it's also in terms of in the federal government or like in the military or something like that. It's the ability to find signals, that value that's in that data to effectively go forward and be successful from a business perspective or from a mission perspective. Law enforcement is critical with all the data that's out there. And if you just think just a little bit about all the massive amount of information that's coming from what we call the edge, where we have all these various Internet of Things, and you don't have to really know how to fly a drone, or you don't have to know how these sensors actually work, but you do need to deal with all that data that's coming in from those various edge devices that are out there today. And it's real. So, some of it is, a lot of it mostly is unstructured data that's coming in, and learning how to deal with that unstructured data, like live video streams or imagery that's coming in, is crucial. Okay, it's crucial. So we focus not only on the analytics, but we also focus on the data. And I must admit that the data has always been a challenge for any discipline that is dealing with analytics. So I would like to talk a little bit about, just briefly, about what we're doing with the program, new things that we're seeing, because technology, and I've been around, like I said, like 45 years in industry. I have never seen technology move this fast in the last 10 years that I've been practicing. It's just absolutely amazing. I'm a lifelong learner, and I struggle with trying to just keep up with all the technologies. Um, so um, there's tons of papers that get published, and how do you wade through all that? Well, I think one of the things that you need is to have a foundation of knowledge to get through those papers, so you can get through them quickly, understand the technologies that are being tested out there, and then you're going to be the innovator. You're going to be the engineer on this particular team that might say, hey, we might be able to try this. Here's a new way to sort of um, process our data, a data pipeline. So why don't we go to the next slide, Denise? Okay, so one of the clients that I have right now, so even though I'm full-time at the university, Dean Ball has said, when I came on board, I said, I can't leave the type of work that I'm doing, otherwise I will not be valuable to my students or my program. So they agreed to allow me to practice in a limited way. And so I have clients. And one of the things I'm helping my clients with today is this notion of what's called a data product. And data products have changed the way we think about data, because previously we were forming, in the last 10 years, we've been dealing with this notion of the data lakes. And so they were really slick. They're still there today. They allow us to cheaply store this massive amount of data that we're pulling in. And we started to talk about things like data lake houses. And then all this stuff is great. It's helping out. There's various types of ecosystems for data. But what's come about in the last couple of years is that we finally now said, hey, we need a data layer. Okay. Even though we've talked about we've moved away from the application centric approach where the applications own this data. And when I was at Oracle, that's what we did all the time. I mean, we had a relational database and we surrounded it with a lot of applications, and that relational database had a schema in it, and it provided data for the applications. But as the data started to grow, those sorts of databases are they're very difficult to scale, and they're very expensive to scale. So a lot of the ecosystem, like with Apache and some of the major companies like Amazon and Google, they had to figure out a better way to do things. And so we saw all this. We saw Hadoop come about, and we saw in a lot of Hadoop, it's still there today, but it's buried underneath the landscape, so to speak. So what I have seen come about is this notion of the data product, where we can't just expect the data scientist or the analytics or the analyst to come in and go to the data lake and try to find something. It's just literally impossible. I mean, very few data lakes are really indexed or cataloged where you can go off and search them. And then even when you find something, you have to process the data. Okay. So the trend right now is what we're seeing is this thing called a data product. And data products are sort of interesting in the sense is that somebody takes responsibility to build that product. Maybe that's one of you that are out here listening tonight. And you'll be building these products. They'll be accessible in a self-service tier. They'll also have governance around them as to how they can be used. And if you notice, like some of the attributes, like there'll be a data contract. This contract for the data, a data specification. There'll be ways to pull things out of them. And at the same time, through various technologies, that data product may most likely will also be updatable so that as new data comes in, it'll be accessible and it'll be specific. It'll be leveraged now by a particular set of data product consumers. Okay, so I've seen a lot of trends in my days. I think this one is a pretty strong one. And if we can just go to the next slide. Where this fits right now, there's a abstraction concept called the data mesh architecture. And how you implement this varies because it's an abstraction. But it has some interesting aspects to it, and some of the key reusable pieces are the architecture for data mesh. If you notice that top level there is federated governance, and it's actually called uh, uh, computational federated governance. And there, the impact of how you use this data, like for example, policy. If you notice what's going on in Europe right now with various types of policies that are coming about, it is causing some real concerns with IT companies that are embedded there with, probably trillions of dollars worth of business over short periods of time. And then all of a sudden, new policy comes into effect and it has to be enforceable. So somehow that policy gets turned into particular enforcement mechanisms. And so that's what the governance is really, really important here. And we're trying to move our program to make our students aware of this particular trend that's coming about. The data product sort of sits in the center of all this. And if in that oblong or that egg-shaped yellow thing that you see there, you see this thing called domain. And what the data mesh has done is that it allows industry or government, they're already producing data in these particular domains. So take, for example, a regular company, they have what? They have an HR department, they have a finance department, they may have a business development department, travel, quite a few, and they all have their own IT systems. And what data mesh tries to do from a practical perspective is says you still own the data, but it's going to be exposed as these data products, and you're going to build the data products. And so that ownership capability and that synergy of doing all this is coming about. It does take strong leadership. There's no question about that. So a lot of this, there's a lot of room for all different sorts of skills and talents to do this. On that bottom tier is what's called a self-service data platform. That's where this analyst will come in and they'll be looking for particular types of products that they need to do their job. And this facilitates that and it accelerates their ability to perform analytics, doing a lot of discovery, experimentation with the data to find value with it. And then that other tier over there, these are enabling teams, and this might be one of you might be in one of those enabling teams as well. So our program allows you to be on an analytics team where you're working with the data and you're doing analytics. It also allows you to do infrastructure type things like with respect to building data products as well, and having that understanding. So I just wanted to give you a little bit of a taste because and I know that you probably have a lot of questions as these technologies are moving fast. We haven't touched on or talked about the large language models, all the associated methodologies and techniques that are being used there, and that is impacting analytics, how we do analytics. I feel, and a lot of people talk about the replacement of people like myself. And I've been through these waves before. And what happens is it enables us. It allows us to be more productive. It allows us to do more things, to acquire more insight, more value, and it accelerates economies when you're able to do that. So I look at these as accelerators. Yes, certainly it changes the way we have to practice. We need new skills, but in this program here, we set the foundation, and then you never stop learning, okay? Things always change. And one of the things we're doing in the program right now, we've been interviewing our alumni. I got a research project going on with one of my students that we're interviewing our alumni. We're getting feedback from them on what the program helped them, what it enabled them to do as they went out and got their jobs, what things we fell short with, and what things they need today. And we're trying to make this program. Our alumni, we have lots of alumni, and our alumni are extremely valuable because they provide this feedback into the program to make the next generation of people that we graduate more successful. Okay, Denise, can we go to the next slide here? Okay, the program is moving up. The U.S. News and World Report, I was in a meeting today where I've had to, these are very painful things to do. We were given we have to fill out a very, very lengthy report, and each year we have to turn it in. We'll be submitting this, I think, in like the November timeframe for next year's rankings and whatnot, but we're doing quite well. I think the other thing that the program does allow you to do is that we have within the College of Engineering and Computing, across the two schools, we have a lot of great world-class researchers. And they contribute to the courses that we teach here. And so they have an impact by the work that they're doing to keep our courses on the leading edge. So that is a really blessing, and it's very, very nice. They're contributing to our courses. And then there's folks here who are faculty, and like me, that are also out there practicing in industry. So when I took my sabbatical for 2 years, I went into federal government, but I was practicing as a data analytics engineer. My assistant director also comes from industry. And we have a large set of adjuncts who are also industry based. Now, the one part of our program that I did not talk about, but I think I'll wait for the next slide, but we do offer this thing called an online, it's a graduate certificate. Okay, it is the same graduate certificate that you would get on campus, but it's offered online, which is really, really nice. And this certificate, many of our students decide that when they take our foundation courses, which everybody in the program has to take, whether you're on campus or online, it's the same program, you are entitled to get that certificate. And some people use that in a sense that they're in the program, they've acquired a foundation by taking the 4 foundation courses that is extremely valuable in the current job that they're in, the current work that they're doing, or they have their career path, they want to move into something different. And this certificate is something that it's from George Mason University. This program is accredited, and that goes on to your resume. Okay, and that's valuable. Okay, so that is a valuable option. I look at this in a little different light, is that, yeah, the certificate's great, but the minute you get interviewed, they're going to know, because of the courses that you've taken, they're going to know that you have the right components, the right chemistry to do the type of analytics. So that certificate allows you to, and some people just, they'll go on for the certificate and they think, well, that, and they feel that that's all they need. But the majority of our folks go on to finish off the MS. Now, I have a PhD, and I can tell you from my experience in industry, um, what I'm seeing today, and because I've been around a long time, a lot of PhDs today will go off, get involved with startups. Also, people with MSs as well are getting involved with startups. They get a startup going. It does some really great things. It might be purchased, or it might just, it ends. It fills a niche, it's completed, and they go off and work on another startup. It's a very, very exciting place to be. Um, but the master's, the MS, that is really the degree that bumps up your salary. Um, and it is something that when you go to apply for a job or you're going to get involved with a startup, that MS degree um, is a real star. I mean, people look at that, and that will usually get you into the door for the interview and to talk and find out if you're a good fit. Um, so this combination with having that certificate, which is still extremely valuable, and then having the MS degree, and it's an MS degree that comes out of an engineering college, is extremely, extremely valuable. So let's go to the next slide, Denise. Okay, so just a little bit here about the four core courses, and I'll talk about those four for the certificate first. So there's the AIT 580 is a foundational course that begins to address the essentials of data. And I say begins to address, it provides you with what I would call the essential knowledge, foundational knowledge that you need to deal with data. Data in and of itself is huge, okay? And it is only getting bigger. So that course touches on all the right things. Okay, but if you're going to go into depth, there are other AIT courses that you can take to expand your knowledge of working with data. The CS 504 course deals with data management and mining. I teach this course. I was in the computer science. I was an adjunct here before I became the director of the program, and I was in the computer science department. So I taught this course, and they asked me to put it online for them. So this course deals with the management aspect will be your things like your relational databases, your NoSQL databases, your vector databases. And it goes over those essentials. It touches upon some of the relational theory. It talks about, it'll go into Hadoop a little bit because that's an important thing to understand, that underlying foundation. And then in the data mining aspect of it, it goes through a lot of the pattern matching. It'll talk about the bases of things like with the underlying theoretical foundations for data warehousing. So it covers a lot of the algorithmic aspects of doing data mining and machine learning that is really important to know. So it's one course, and again, it touches on the essentials. So you'll get a good taste for that, as well as working with one of the things that we just got that just has been offered to us in the program and for the school is like in CS 504, you will use an AWS, you get an AWS account. And so we'll go over things like DynamoDB, you get a chance to use an S3 bucket, AWS SageMaker, and we'll probably touch on Redshift, just doing a little bit of that. So those sort of things are all valuable if you haven't been exposed to that in the past. If you have, that's fine. And then the OR 531, Operations Research, deals with modeling. And in analytics, we build lots of models, okay? So they go through this at the basic modeling concepts, which are very, very important to make sure that you understand those sort of things. So there's some, low-level mathematics that they go through, and then some conceptual things about how to build a model. very important. Modeling spans across all engineering, all science, so you can't get enough of a course like that. The Stats 515 is applied statistics. It does have some statistics that would be relevant for things like machine learning. And it does have a nice emphasis on visualization techniques. So that is a great course in and of itself. It lays down that statistical foundation. And so we do require that people come in with a basic understanding of statistics from an undergraduate perspective. And then this course sort of, if, you know, and of course the instructors are pretty good about this. If there is some things that you forget, and I know I forget a lot of stuff, I've been around a long time, you know, they have paths to review things and whatnot while you're taking that course. Okay, those are the 4 foundation courses that provide that working, what I consider to be that applied working knowledge for you. The last course that you have to take, which is usually the when I say last course, it is usually the last course that you take. So you take those 4 foundation courses, then you'll take your 5 electives. Is the DAN 690. This is the capstone course. And there you will work on a project on a team with a industry partner. I mean, it could be a university partner that comes in that they have a problem. We have, for example, we have a faculty member that does a lot of work with the FAA. So he has lots and lots of projects that he brings to us that you get some exposure to doing. One year we were doing some work with explainable AI. He had a client out there that was interested in explainable AI, so that the team was doing some analytics and trying to use the analytics to help explain some of the models that were being built. So it was sort of interesting, a difficult problem that was sort of interesting. But that's what that course is all about. It's a lot of work, but it's worth the investment, and you'll find that you'll be in with, you know, you'll be doing it online, but you'll also have a chance to see the other projects that are on campus. So this fall, I have a section of DAN 690, the capstone course. I have 4 projects, and overall across all the sections, we have 28 projects. So it is extremely interesting. I mean, you being just exposed to all these different teams that are doing things, it's really great. Okay, can we go to the next slide, Denise? Thank you. Okay, so we have quite a few electives that you can take from. I'll just start with the COR electives. That's our Systems Engineering and Operations Research Department. And we have put some of their courses asynchronously online, and they're listed there. And with all these courses, one of the things that we do is that we clearly, you want to work with an advisor because these courses, like your undergraduate courses or other graduate courses that you've taken, want to make sure that everybody understands the prerequisite for these courses. Because the one thing we do not want you to do is to get into a course that you may not have all the prerequisites for, and then you go halfway through it and you find out, hey, this just isn't working for me because I just can't catch up. And it's not your fault, to be quite frank with you. It's really that there's some background missing there that you may need another, a different course. And so some of these, there are pathways on how you take the courses. So that's why it's important to work with the advisor. The ECE is our electrical engineering courses, and right now we have focused on digital forensics. The faculty member that runs this is a former FBI agent, and he was doing forensics while he was at the FBI. When he came over to George Mason, he brought all that knowledge with him, and so he used to be the former director of the data analytics engineering program before I took over. I asked him to come in to get these courses online. So these are popular courses, the doing the digital forensics and the network forensics. Uh, I think when I was over at DHS, I was supporting some work going on over at CISA, which is the cybersecurity group, and these things are spot on for analytics. The IST elective courses, these are the ones that are going to be dealing with data. You also notice there, you'll see some applied applications there of machine learning. And so very, very practical with respect to analytics and with respect to data. And then that GBUS at the bottom is courses, and this is where Dr. Kenneth Ball, the dean of the College of Engineering Computing, his vision of making sure that we open this program up not only across the two schools and all the departments within the College of Engineering Computing, but those other schools I was mentioning earlier. So this is the business school. And these courses here are asynchronous, and they're often to folks who are interested in some business analytics. So those are open to you. The last course up in the upper left-hand corner is an independent research course, and that's what I mentioned. I have two students this semester that I'm working with as a faculty member, doing some research with them. One of the ones that I mentioned was the student that I have working with, doing some analytics with surveying and interviewing our alumni. So that course usually, so that's one of the 5 electives that you can take. And if you have some research interests, or you talk to another faculty member, you might be looking at the College of Engineering and Computing website, and you see some faculty member there that's doing some interesting research. You can reach out and contact them and say, hey, I'm in the data analytics engineering program. Do you think you'd have a project that we could do one semester? And then, I would approve that work for you. So that is that area where you can do some research. You can take 3 credit hours of doing research there. Okay, Denise, can we go to the next slide? Okay, so here, that's an old picture of me when I first put the CS504 course online. But it was very, very interesting for me developing online courses, because in every faculty member that I have worked with, because when the data analytics engineering program started its online program, it was the first online program in the college. And so with our partner, we learned how to teach differently. So asynchronous learning is beautiful. It's really great for folks who are working full-time, or they want to work remotely, or they like our program and they're located, someplace else. They can't commute, 1,000 miles a day. But putting together a course that's asynchronous is a real interesting exercise to go through. And all of our faculty learn more about the course when we try to put it into asynchronous. So you get some benefits from what we've learned in trying to, because we have to really think about how we're teaching. On-campus courses, we just put up a bunch of slides, we come into the theater, we're working with the students. Asynchronous, we have to do a lot more thinking about how this is going to be presented, different pathways that have to be there for different learners. And the other thing is, you are not by yourself just because you're doing online, okay? You will have access to a faculty member like myself. Some of our courses do have teaching assistants, especially when they get a little bit larger. It helps, the faculty member can't handle such a volume, so we'll have a teaching assistant to help out. But for the most case, our classes are usually fairly small, so you'll have one faculty member. And we're pretty good at you being online. We get text message or an email, but we're leaning more towards texting now, and we're putting up private channels for the course on MS Teams. That's working quite well. And so we can interact quickly. I know when I do CS 504, it's very common, like maybe 6, 7 o'clock or 8 o'clock at night, somebody says, "Hey, I'm doing the assignment, I'm having some trouble." So we just spin up an MS Teams or a Zoom session, and share out a screen, try to work out the problem, um, and then we're done. So, because our belief is that you shouldn't struggle with a problem too long. If it's taking 15 minutes or 20 minutes and you're stuck, it's highly likely you're going to continue to be stuck, and then you're going to get behind. So what we normally tell the students to do, you get stuck, reach out for help. And that is one of the advantages of online learning, is that the faculty members have to be available for you. Now, granted, if you're up 3 o'clock in the morning, we may not be available, but we'll get to you as soon as we get back online, and see if we can work something out. Okay, next slide, please. Okay, Denise, I'll give it back to you.
Okay. Well, thank you everyone, first and foremost. This is how you can contact us for the online program. That's the general email. That's also the website to get to the application, and a phone number to contact us. If you would like to put any Q&As, this is the time. I will go over the admissions process. If you are interested, you can scan the code and apply today. Again, Q&A is available for you to start putting in your questions, anything that you have. This is the perfect time, since we do have Mr. Baldo available to answer those. I will tell you that the admissions process is, the minimum requirement is to have a bachelor's degree with at least a minimum of a 3.0 GPA. There are some prerequisite courses that you do need to have. You need to have a Calculus 1, a statistics class, and a computer programming class. You also need to have official transcripts, a professional resume, one letter of recommendation. The letter of recommendation is a questionnaire format, meaning while you're doing your application, you're going to upload your recommender's name and email address, and we'll go ahead and email them a list of questions pretty much for them to fill in. It's a little bit different than the traditional written letter or recommendation. We do find that these are more effective. People are actually more willing to complete because they don't have to carve this time out to write a letter. And then a personal statement. That's your way in. That's where you write your story. That's the meats and potatoes of your entire application. Everything is looked at entirely. We as enrollment counselors here are here to assist you with any questions, any help that you need with your application process. So that pretty much sums up that. I'll go back to, sorry, I'll leave it. Where'd it go? Sorry, guys. I'll bring this page back up for you guys. Here, you can go ahead and put in any Q&A questions that you have. I know that there was one question I had prior to, so I'll go ahead and ask you that. If we have students currently enrolled in the prerequisite courses, should we wait for them to complete those before submitting application? Or should they submit application, and are they provided provisional acceptance to the program? And that was like a three-part question.
Yeah, no, great question. Thank you, Denise. So I do all the admissions for the program, and we're a very, very large program. As of this fall, including our online program, we have 700 active students in this program. But when I do the admissions, when I get an application, so it goes into George Mason, it gets, the registrar has to process it. There's lots of things that they have to do that we can't do. And then when it comes to me, so if there is a prerequisite course that you're in, you need to finish it. Okay. And that's, I'm just going to be quite frank and honest with you, finish the course and then apply. Because what I have to do is we used to do something along provisional. And this only was for, usually it was for programming languages, because we get a lot of people that come in from different domains like business and whatnot. So they may not have had a really, really strong background in programming. So we did have a provisional course, and that we feel right now that it is best just to have the provisional prerequisites. So we're like programming, if you are actually doing some programming, but you didn't have a formal course, all those things that Denise had up on the previous slide, where she was talking about the letter of recommendation, the resumes and things like that. I look at those, I have to read those things. And I find those very interesting. And I normally can tell when I look, the sort of work that you're doing, I can make that decision on the programming language and say, okay, that's fine. You have good work experience, and because I interview a lot of people as well for clients. But calculus and statistics, that's one thing that you have to have before you start the program. And so please, if you're taking a calc course or you're taking a stats course or both, please just finish and then apply. Okay, I hope that answers the question, Denise. Oh, you're on mute, Denise. I can't hear you.
Thank
There
you.
you go.
Since we're on the topic of the prerequisite courses, I know for a lot of programs, we accept the LinkedIn Learning for a foundational statistics course. Do you accept that as the prerequisite?
Yeah, I'm not allowed to do that. I do believe that's a good course. I don't have anything against that. There's some other online courses out there where you can actually take the test and get it. But the university does require me to, because of the way we're set up, is that the statistics and the calculus course has to come from an accredited university. And that's just, my hands are tied with respect to that. So I want to be quite honest with you. I can't accept that for the stats.
Okay, perfect. There's a few more questions that have come in. Oh, let's take a look. Okay, what help do you offer graduates after completing this program? For example, internships, job shadowing, career advising, etc.
Great question. Great question. So after you finish the program, or even while you're in the program, so I don't want to exclude anybody. You don't have to graduate to talk to me, or to talk to Professor Schmidt, or to talk to Dr. Isaac Gang, who's also another faculty member in the program, or to our, we have a career group here within the College of Engineering and Computing. And Gardner is our point of contact there. Normally, I like to work with students after they graduate, or while they're graduating, or while they're in the program, because I want to listen. What I normally do is I set up like a 30-minute talk, virtual meeting, and I try to understand what you're looking for. Okay. And so I do know of places in industry, because I work in industry, some companies and whatnot that might be that could be looking for, or when there's lots of companies out there where you can go off and apply. But the important thing is, what is it that you want to do? Okay. And I always say, what is it currently that you want to do, and where do you think you might want to go? And I don't ask that question too much anymore, where you want to go, and I'll tell you why. Is because things are changing so fast, and you may think, everything's exciting, okay, and it gets more exciting as things change. So the best thing to do is to look at currently where you want to go, and then go there. I always listen to things like, there's times people get into situations where they can't move. So we look for particular types of alternatives in their geographical area. But also there's a lot of work that's performed today that can be done remotely. And that's becoming more and more of an option for folks, um, so that you don't have to travel. Everything is done virtually. And then, excuse me, and in analytics, that works very, very well with the type of work that we do because a lot of the work is cloud-based today. And so, you get up in the morning, you go into your office and you start working, and you um, have we don't use phones anymore. I mean, it's everything is done via the internet and via a computer. But yes, I'm usually the one to talk to students about their needs. In terms of internships, we do have an internship program here, but normally the internships are done. Um, they're usually you usually get an internship while you're a student with us, and so the online program would have options for that. But then I would send you to our point of contact, which would be Ann Gardner, and she would route you through. She would work with you directly. Let's see, what else was in that question, Denise? Something I'm missing here that the person asked. I covered that they could talk with me, and even after, when you're alum, oh, so I'm sorry, Denise, I got my own question here. When you become an alum, one of the things I'm trying to do right now is this thing that I mentioned, lifelong learners. That's what I am. And most people don't want to come back and get another degree. I mean, it may not be the degree they're looking for, and maybe all that they're looking for is they want to learn something that they need to expand their awareness and be able to apply a new particular type of technology or a new particular analytic. Let me give you an example. There's this sort of mushrooming effect that's coming on with LLMs. LLMs also come with what I would call an ecosystem around them. There's RAG, there's function calls, um, and soon to be, we're going to be moving into agentic systems where these LLMs will be buried under these agent-based systems. So people might come back to us and say, hey, I need to come up to speed on something like that. And that's one of the things we're trying to do with the program, is to sort of make things available to our alumni. Our students are valuable to us, certainly, but the largest population we have are our alumni after they graduate. And so we want to keep them, we don't want to lose you, okay? Of course, if you go off for another degree in another university or something like that, we'll give you a great reference and whatnot. But for those of you who are out practicing, and even if you get a degree from another university, you're part of us. You're part of our community. You're part of our family, so to speak. So we want to keep you, and we want to make sure that we're doing things that are helping you out, because you need to be a lifelong learner, uh, not just in this field, in any field. And really, I'm trying to open up this program so that we can support those lifelong learners. It's just starting. I got a new person that I hired just came on board that's working with me to get that going. So part of it, we're out there interviewing our alumni, seeing what they need, and then we're going to start to expand out on how offerings that we can make to them. So I hope I answered that question for you.
Yes. I know you mentioned that you are available and faculty members if someone needs something, if they're stuck on a problem, or trying to solve something. Are there set office hours?
Yeah, so it varies by faculty member. So I don't see with our faculty these days saying, hey, I'm available. Maybe this happens every once in a while. Someone might say, I'm only available on Tuesday and Thursday from 2 to 4. A lot of the faculty are now just saying, hey, just, I'm available, make an appointment, and we'll get together. Um, so I believe that that's a better approach. That's how I do things. I'm available by an appointment. Just let me know when we need to meet because you got a particular problem. Um, it's sometimes challenging for the faculty member, but I know that when I do CS 504, there are times like 8 o'clock, or 8:30 or 9 o'clock. Somebody says, "Hey, I'm stuck on this assignment." Um, and so it's just easier for me and easier for the person in the class for us just to come online like this, and open up a screen. We're doing the problem in the cloud. I just have them share out their browser, and I try to help them with a particular problem. If it's with like a quiz or something like that, or if it's with a particular concept, that's fine too. So yeah, so normally it's sort of like almost like on demand. You try to get that faculty member. Hey, could we meet now? And you might hit the faculty member at the right time, and you can meet right now and get things solved. On the other hand, it might be the next day, early the next day when you get back with the faculty member. I hope that answers the question. I want to be totally honest and frank with you about that. But a lot of us really try to do it on demand,
Okay.
if we can.
Thank you. For the basic computer requirement, what other courses outside of college and work experience will satisfy that?
So it's a programming requirement if, and so the most of currently the courses that are being taught today are using Python. The statisticians use R. If you know either of those programming languages, you're okay. The I would say that if you have a programming language that is object-oriented based, like Java, that's good enough. You can do, if you know Java, you can do Python. But Python's the one that will help out. There, the Python, if you have some work experience with it, or if I do see you've taken a Coursera course or something like that in it, especially if you get a certificate, that's pretty helpful to me. Because the thing is, I don't want to, like the AIT 580 course, Dr. Harry Foxwell put that course together. The first week he has a module just as here's the fundamentals of Python. And he gives that to you, so it's probably just enough so you can do the homework problems in Python. It doesn't mean you're going to be you can go out and get a job being a Python programmer. We're not setting you up to do that. And by the way, we have that requirement now because industry still requires people to do programming, but we're beginning to see a lot of low code, no code type of work that's going on, especially with a lot of the visual canvases that are coming up to do development these days. So I think, taking an online course, and there are free ones out there that you can take, and Python would be good. R is adequate as well. But I would focus more on Python for right now. Now, there's other ones out there like Rust, Go, Selenium, and things like that. Those are all valuable. They would pass it well as well. But to check the box, that's really all I would look at. So if you have some work experience with one of those, that helps. If you take, so I get a lot of times I'll see when I'm looking at the applications, I'll see the certificate from like Coursera or from one of the other online courses, where the course was free, but they paid the $60 or $50 to sit for the exam and test and passed and got the certificate. That would usually work with me. Go ahead, Denise. I hope that.
Oh, sorry. The last question, because the other one I can answer is online, the program says it requires 2 letters of recommendation, but I did state 1. What is the corrected one? I think that may have recently changed since we did our last virtual open house.
Okay, so I've been away for 2 years, so maybe we'll have to get back to this student, but I think Denise, for the online program, I thought it was 1, but I could be wrong. So I don't want to, I don't want to cause any rework for somebody. So maybe we'll let Denise get the answer for that and get back.
We'll table that one because I know in the past it's been 1. This is a new recent update, like this term. So it may have been updated, but we'll get the answer for that. And as far as they ask, what's the process for transcripts? We usually do parchment. It's going to depend on the school and what they utilize. But there's also an email that's sent to you when you're speaking to an enrollment counselor, and it states exactly how to request those transcripts.
A good question. Yeah.
That covers all the questions. Thank you so much, everyone, for attending. Jim Baldo, if you have any last few words you want to give the students before
Yeah,
we're
yeah, I
done.
would like just to say a closing word. First, I'd like to thank everybody for coming on and showing interest for our program. We truly are very interested in you. We are, our objective and goal is to create the next generation of data analytics engineers. Um, and you folks are the future. And we want you to shine when you go off after you graduate and whatnot, but we also want to keep you as part of the family. And, we believe that the universities are changing and that alumni stay with us. So thank you all. And I hope to see applications from all of you. Really looking forward to it. And I think our online program is a stellar program. I think it's, um, I think it provides that value. I believe this is really the future of learning, doing things online like this. So anyways, thank you very much, folks. Thank you, Denise, for organizing this.
Thank you so much for everything. Hope everyone has a great evening. If you guys have any questions, feel free to reach out. The email is there, and so is the number. We'll be more than happy to assist with anything.
Good night. Thank you, folks.